So it won't have escaped anyone's attention that retail media is booming. I think we first started talking about it here in Cannes, what, 5-ish years ago, maybe a little bit longer, but it's everywhere now. Why? Why is it booming? What's happening?
I think, especially this year, we're in a pretty interesting climate when it comes to just our political climate, and our economic climate is unique in that I think marketers are being pressed for more accountability. I think that the days of kind of very lavish, although we're in Cannes, right? So, but I think the days of executing media and executing campaigns without measurement, without understanding what's happening at the register, it's hard. That's a hard thing to justify. But that comes in great timing because we have such access to data, especially through retail media, where we can close the loop and where we can help our partners really be accountable to their investments and show ROI.
So accountable media is something you're very much here to talk about.
Absolutely.
What do you mean by accountable media? You've kind of touched upon it, but you think there's a bigger set of things.
I think I think it has to do with trust. It has to do with transparency. That's where standardization also comes in, right? With retail media, the way you can measure and the way that you can prove out ROAS is wildly different when you based on technique. You know, how you're factoring up, how you're understanding cash transactions, where your match rates land. So from retailer to retailer, we're seeing pretty large swings in ROAS. It doesn't help our marketers make the best decision. So getting into that standardization track, which I know Albertsons has been pushing for in the industry in partnership with IAB. I've joined the IAB Commerce Board to help kind of push this forward. But being able to hold ourselves to a higher standard just helps our marketing partners be that much more accountable to their dollars. So trust, transparency, and especially that standardization piece, huge.
So the whole of the retail media segment is kind of built on data and connectivity. What is the state of the art in measurement? You mentioned the work of the committee. What's the good outcome you're working towards?
I think we all need to work toward, again, nailing the basics. And by that, I mean, let's standardize basic metrics because we have to move into experimentation. We are operating in a lot of new channels, specifically at Albertsons. We just launched our in-store digital media network. So you're talking about a vast variety of channels and a lot of different ways to measure. If we can standardize, then we can start moving into some of those more advanced models to understand how these channels interact, where 1 + 1 = 3, where 1 + 1 = 5, and we can start making those assumptions and those deep dives. But if we're not nailing the basics and holding hands as an industry and saying this is our standard for these baseline metrics, it's going to be really hard for us to get there.
So it's a very diverse segment. I mean, there are 80 plus big retail media networks. With the committee, where do you see scope for standardization?
I think there's a lot of interest for it. It's a hot topic, and I don't think you're seeing a lot of retail media networks shying away from this. We all want to be held to a high standard. I think there's room for all of us in market. We all have a unique value prop. That's why we all are in existence, right, as retailers and as retailers first. So I'm seeing it come from, of course, our CPG partners, but I'm also hearing it from other industry players. We want to see the standardization happen.
And at the same time, there's a bit of a push to move away from campaign-level reporting to something more enterprise-level, right?
A bit of a push is a vast understatement. Yeah, of course.
A massive drive.
Massive drive. I think, again,
What does it mean in practice?
Yeah, getting back to this climate, right? We're retailer first. Our job is to move units. Retail media is a piece of that flywheel. You have merchandising, you have in-store experience, you have promo, you have trade dollars, you have digital shelf, you have partnerships, you have retail media. All of these things are driving shopper to shelf, pushing units. We are a growth partner, and our partners want to understand what that growth looks like. It's really tough to say this campaign performed and has incremental share when maybe year over year the business isn't performing as well, the CPG business. So for us, we're really focused on getting into those longitudinal metrics that are showing, hey, as your campaigns are doing really well, we're going to use incrementality. We're going to use campaign by campaign iROAS as almost like an efficiency metric. Are we on track? But we're going to analyze this quarter by quarter. We're going to look year over year, and we're going to understand how you're making a dent, how we're changing shopper behavior, and really helping our CPG partners grow.
So can you give us an example of where this has worked really well with a partner of Albertsons?
Sure. So we have partners who are specifically interested in lifetime value, and really tracking that through their innovation products. So they're launching new flavors, they may be launching new sizes, and how are they getting one incremental SKU into basket, but also how is that behavior persisting beyond promo period or beyond campaign period? And that's where LTV can give us kind of a little bit more of a macro look on, you're putting these big efforts into market by way of campaign, you're putting a lot of money into R&D, is this actually growing your share in the category? So we're seeing it work very, very well, especially with new product launch.
So there's been a ton of innovation in the space. Where do you think there's still work to do over the next 12 months to really push measurement to the next level in the retail category?
I think in-store is probably where there's the most work to do, and that's where we're laser focused right now. When you consider Albertsons, over 45 million loyalty members, 35 million in stores every week, a lot of frequency. The store for us, I mean, is a massive canvas to really paint a full funnel experience. You can drive discovery, you can create that affinity, and then of course you're bringing people across the scanner, right? Getting them through checkout. So being able to measure efficacy of in-store and give our partners a lot of insight into where they need to be and when, for us is a massive priority, and that's why our partnership with Stratacache is so interesting, because their measurement tools and their measurement technology, combined with our stores and of course our teams, we're really cooking up something interesting there.
So you mentioned that partnership. There's a lot of news coming out of Albertsons. Give us a sense of what's big and bubbling across the collective.
I think in-store is really probably the biggest and most bubbling. It's where we're seeing the most interest. It's every meeting I'm in so far is a question about in-store and how folks can get involved. I think the value of in-store media, but specifically being able to close the loop on in-store media, had just not been realized anywhere in the industry. So the fact that we can be on the bleeding edge here and recognize that value and be able to provide that accountability, that's so important to us, and we hold ourselves to that high standard. We're happy to have a partner that also holds themselves to a high standard.
So we almost managed the unheard of feat of getting through a Cannes fireside without mentioning AI. I'm guessing you're all over AI. Are you doing cool stuff in that space?
I think AI has always been a part of retail media specifically, so it's interesting to kind of, for those of you who are in retail media or any digital media, you're like, we've been AIing for a long time, right? We've been building ML models for forever, whether it's for measurement or campaign optimization. That said, it's something that we're continuing to press forward into and to understand how we can generate efficacy for our partners and continue building that transparent bridge.
Okay, so it's been an amazing 5 years plus in the retail media category. What's next? What do you expect to see coming down the train tracks towards us in the next 12 months? How do you think the category is going to develop and evolve? What will we be talking about in Cannes 2026?
Brand marketing and non-endemic. I think that's our next frontier. I don't want to say it's our final frontier, because this is such a nascent category and there's so much to do. Luckily at Albertsons, we're diving in, right? There's a lot to do, and we're doing it as quickly as we can. But when I talk about accountable media, when I meet with brand marketers, they're on the hook for units. I mean, it's gone are the days where it's just kind of put something into the ether and cross your fingers. They want to see the measurement. So that probably doesn't mean that they are going to be involved in, for example, developing promos, right? Or being part of a couponing campaign. But what it does mean is that they can leverage Albertsons audiences in the CTV space, and they can work that high funnel while also getting kind of insight into how this is pushing units, and are we actually reaching our real loyal customers? Are we changing behavior? Are we getting that full funnel activity? So I think there's a lot of space for brand marketers to play in retail media. It doesn't have to be at the shelf edge. It can be anywhere along that funnel stage.
Liz, that is super fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing some thoughts with us. Liz Roche, everyone.
Thank you so much.